want to preface this entire video with saying I'm going to be bringing absolutely nothing useful to the conversation whatsoever. That's a guarantee. And really, my perspective on this and why my lack of useful information is my source of content on this particular take is because I feel like there's a broken pattern here. Unless you didn't read the tag before you clicked on it, I'm talking about the recent controversy with Audacity. Now, I've had a lot of people like blowing up my inbox talking about this, and uh, it's hard for me to get even remotely overly emotional like some people are getting. In my head, this kind of falls back in line with a lot of other things. One of them is actually already on my screen. It's not Audacity, and I'm gonna talk some shit. Talk some shit on myself as well, but I'm gonna talk some shit. So I can't tell you how many times I've been in this total anecdotal situation, but people who are like free software, privacy, privacy, and then they use something like VS Code. There's nothing directly wrong with VS Code. I use VS Codium, but VS Code itself, it is based on an open source project, but the files themselves, they are they are spyware in the same sense, and people will run Visual Studio Code and just they just take it like, yeah, there's spyware on here. It's from Microsoft, whatever. The second one I'm going to call out, it's a little bit more obvious, but Chrome browser. You know, get Chrome for the desktop, yada, yada, yada. I don't have to tell you that there's spyware in this. You know that is the main business model of Google is spyware. Like that's what they do, is what they live for. And again, fully out here, I know I'm part of the problem now because I have gone no longer de-Googled phones. Went the Samsung route, which is even worse, right? But I'll get to my main point in a minute, and I just want to piss everyone off real quick here. Brave, yeah, Brave telemetry. If you really think that somehow Brave is more privacy focused, I can't find the article I was looking on earlier. I didn't do any research. Again, nothing of value in this video. Guarantee. That's my guarantee. Nothing of value in this video. But let's click on this random one here. Here we go. Spyware level high. This is not the one I was looking for. This is another random article I found. If you are expecting that a package would be delivered to you in a clean way that's not done by a group that you respect, like if I install Chromium through apt on my Debian system, it's going to be a cleaner system than if I install Chrome. If I go to the VS Codium, there we go, VS Codium website. Now, have I checked these guys out to make sure they're on the up and up? No. So this always comes back down to trust. But I have a really good feeling that this is such a popular project that people are going to double check their work. There we go. We got the GitHub. You can look at it. People who are much smarter than I can look at it. And if there's a problem, it usually gets singled out because they have the code. The actual VS Code, we don't have the source for that. We have the source that's very similar to this they built it from, but unless you're building it, nah, dog. Nah. So Brave is the same way. You can't, well, I'm sure you can. I've never seen anyone release a cleaned version of Brave browser. There's like ungoogled Chrome, there's Chromium project, there's a bunch of other ones, but Brave, I've almost always seen everyone just grab Brave from Brave servers and just trust this for-profit company is going to do only things in their best interest regardless of the money, even though they are clearly a for-profit project. And with Audacity, they're switching to a for-profit model in a lot of ways. Even though, just like Brave, the product is free, there, as you and I both know, there's more ways of making money on a project than selling the project. What was my point? I had a point. I'm chasing the point. And the point, oh yes, my point. I finally found it. Let's switch to my point. My point is that there's multifaceted here. I don't know the numbers here, but privacy means different things to different people. If you're trying to, oh, I just realized I'm wearing the Linux shirt. I get dressed in the morning, I forget what shirt I'm wearing. If you are trying to protect yourself from your government, that's one form of privacy. If you're trying to protect yourself from advertisers and adware like Google and Facebook, that sometimes leaks into the government spectrum, but that is actually a different type of privacy. If you're trying to just protect yourselves from, low-level attacks and being hacked and manned in the middle, you could probably be fine using all these programs as they come, because usually the man-in-the-middle attack is not something that was designed in. Once in a while it is, but not always. And I think that's where you have to yourself and judge for yourself what your privacy is. Part of the reason I went from a de-Googled Android to a Samsung device is I realized who my threat level is and what my threat level is. And for me, it really came down to I don't want to be stuck in one wheelhouse. I know that everything I do with my phone, I could do if I got rid of that device and grabbed my Nexus 5. My Nexus 5 that is still running Android 11, completely de-Googled. I can do like 99% of things I do on this thing, surprisingly. That's a better device. The S21 Ultra is a better made piece of hardware, is more modern, and those are the trade-offs I live with. But I also know that I'm in a situation where I could remove that device from my arsenal and replace it with something else if I need to. I have that luxury. I have that privilege. I can do that. I have a better understanding of what my threat levels are. I know I'm sharing data with Google. I know I'm sharing data with Samsung, and therefore sharing data with all of their partners. I just know it to be true. Will I always be like this in this particular level of threat? I don't know. I because it's such a personal thing, the understanding of privacy and safety is so personal. It depends on the person. I know some people who are very smart and very talented, and they're willing to put up with the inconveniences of running completely free software devices where not even binary blobs are in the system. I, at one point, strived for that, and I get it. I understand. It is the most secure. If you want to talk about secure on all fronts, you run only open source software from the bare metal to the UI. And that's the only way, really. But that is awfully limiting. The balance is cut. I couldn't use my drone if I only use free software. Unfortunately, the drone requires to have all of its features. It requires proprietary blobs, proprietary software, proprietary Android applications. Side note, I'll say this, DJI, those proprietary applications can be sideloaded into Google free devices, and they work flawlessly without Google services. So hats off to that for meeting us in the middle, But again, it's a very personal thing what privacy is. The more we understand about what our privacy choices and ideas are, the better we can make informed decisions. But for the most part, yes, I look forward to a fork of Audacity. Audacium. I think someone has a repository of Audacium. But I think for the most of us Linux users, if we're grabbing the Flatpak or we're grabbing the build in our repository, we're probably going to be okay. And even if we're not, this telemetry data, for the most part, for most people, doesn't really mean anything. And I know that's so disappointing to some of the more hardcore privacy guys, but you do you, man. It's cool. It's cool if you want to go hardcore like that. I get it. I really do. But anyways, that's my rant for today. And thanks for watching. If you like what I'm doing, please support me any way you can. You can support me as simply as clicking a like down below, subscribing if you haven't already. I'm almost at 4K subscribers, and I think that's a fun little number. Is it meaningless? Pretty much, but I look forward to it nevertheless. And if you really dig my vibe and what I'm putting out, I do have a Patreon. There's a link down below. Oh, and a LibrePay, also linked down below. Both, any support in any way you can, even if it's just sharing this video, much appreciated. I'll catch you guys on the next one.